So how are you doing?
Oh,
How's your day going?
thank you very much. I'm doing great. I'm doing kinda Friday-ish, you know. So it
Of
was
course.
it was a long week, and actually I can't wait to chill down a bit for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what do you usually do to chill yourself out?
Well, it depends on what kind of week I had. So, for example, this week I had to do a lot of work, a lot of interviews, and I had to prepare a lot of stuff for the band. So actually, all I know that whatever I'm going to do, it is not in front of the laptop. That's the only thing. That's
Uh-huh.
like the most important thing. If the weather is good enough, I really like to take my cat on a leash because we
Oh.
can do that with her and go somewhere to the nature, maybe, or just maybe to my parents' house. At least they have a garden, and then just hang out there a bit. So yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is far away from my laptop. That's the main point.
Yes, that's the main thing in the 21st century nowadays. Yeah, okay. So let's start talking about your coming album. Yes, Pitch Black Sunset. Incredible album. I really, really liked it.
Thank you
And
so much.
my first question is related to the title. It's very curious. So, was it basically about trying to balance, like light and darkness because it's like pitch
Yeah.
black and then sunset, or it's about like diving into the darkness totally?
Well, kind of both. Kind of both. So actually, the whole album, lyric wise, is very polarized. It's a lot about opposites. It's about um, the younger generation and the older generation, about the future and the past, about Eastern and Western culture. So there are a lot of opposites through the whole album. That's why I really wanted to have an album title which is reflecting on these. So yeah, actually you catch it really well to that you saw that there is light and there is darkness in one name, because that's what it is about. And that's also why we have picked that album cover to put that sunflower, which is like normally representing summer and light and
Mm-hmm.
like good times, and then we put it into a very dark room so that it is surrounded by the darkness. So even though you're also right that the lyrics of the album are actually quite dark.
Of course. Sure. So yeah, the album is pretty dynamic, very multifaceted. And my question is, so as far as I know, you started with psychobilly, then turned like horror punk, and what kind of, yeah, some sort of, and what kind of genre do you stick to nowadays? And do you actually stick to any genre, actually?
No, we don't stick to any genre because, as you said, ages million years ago when we started the band in 2009, it was we started it as a psychobilly band.
Mm-hmm.
And psychobilly is a fun genre, but it's a very limited genre, music wise and lyric wise. And we made 2 albums in this genre, but it was just way, in 2014, actually, we even split up as a band. And one of the million reasons why we split up um, was because I felt like that genre is limiting my creativity. So from that point on, when we decided to restart the whole Hellfreaks, the main mindset was that we will not force us into any genre and give it a very like natural process of writing, and we will see whatever comes out, and whatever we feel good, we will take it, but we will never say that we don't do anything because it does not fit to a genre. And back then we started our road kind of mainly on punk rock, not really on purpose. It was just what naturally came out. And with the years, it's attached with more and more aggressive elements. And yeah, I would say nowadays we're really a mix of punk and metal. But you can also find elements of hardcore or even elements of pop music, because we really stick also to the melodic part of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mix of everything, but if I have to define it, I would say we are merging punk and metal.
Yeah, okay. And what is your opinion on genres in general? Because I don't know, my personal opinion is the future of heavy music is all about eclecticism. But that's my opinion. And what do you think?
No, I actually agree with you because there are a million and billion awesome, great bands out there. So to do anything that haven't been done yet, it is very tricky. And especially if you stick to certain genre elements, it's very hard because there is a really big chance that you will repeat yourself or that you will repeat someone else, you know? So I do think about it the same way like you, that if you want to do something new, you have to go over your genres. That's why I personally really enjoy bands that are going over the genres and those type of crossover bands. I mean, I know that sometimes it can end up weird because it is sometimes it is like that, but sometimes it also can end up in something very awesome and very unique. So it is a brave thing to step out of any genre. I know that on my own personal experience. But I think if you do it for the art, then I think that this is the way to do it, to be brave enough and to experiment with different elements.
Yeah, okay. So coming back to the album, yeah, what totally stays with you for sure is the horror element, I think. So what inspired you during the creation of Pitch Black Sunset?
I don't know. It is really not on purpose. There is no like, I don't know. I never defined us as a horror punk band, for example. So I know that we have done some psychobilly, but you know, psychobilly contains some horror elements, and horror punk music is actually different from psychobilly music. And I never really thought about us as horror punk band. I do like. I mean, especially when it comes to the cinematic part, you know, when it comes to the visualization, I really like the weird stuff, you know. I don't like, for example, I personally almost never watch horror movies where there are scare jumps because I hate scare jumps, you know. I hate that, but I like those horror movies which are like where there is like a kind of pressure, you know, which is more psychological, and that's the stuff that I like. And I like to use these elements because I think that they are interesting, and I time to time I even think that they are beautiful. So for me, it is just a spice, but actually, I don't know. Maybe it all happened unconsciousness, to be honest. So yeah, maybe you're right that there are a couple of horror elements, but not on purpose.
Yeah, that's great. And what was the major inspiration during the recording process of Pitch Black Sunset? I mean, was it something like horror stuff or maybe something else?
No, definitely no horror here.
Okay.
You know, it is we started to write the album when COVID was still active and when the war just started in our neighbor country, and when the inflation was so high like I have never ever faced in our country. So I wouldn't say that they are directly inspired by these happenings, but it's definitely an unexpected, not easy time in our life because there are obstacles that we have to deal with that we were not really prepared of. I never thought that these things can happen in my lifetime, you know. And because of that, I really started to think a lot or reflect a lot about myself and think about what really counts, think about what my real fears are, what is really important, what is not important, you know. So the whole album is about self-reflection, and it's very honest and very raw. And this time I really wanted to write lyrics that are very kind of straight, you know, straight in the meaning of that I'm not asking for any excuse for saying a few things. I mean, they are all about myself, but normally I really try to bring out something positive out of any type of lyrics. But this time I just wanted to stay honest. And if there is something that, for example, if there is any type of fear, like Weeping Willow, then I'm just talking about the fear, because I don't know the solution. I am just writing these lyrics because I know that there are a lot of people who are facing the same struggles, and I do believe that it helps a lot if you find, for example, music, but it can be any type of art. For example, music that reflects to your own fears and feelings, and yeah. So it's more about the connection, because I do believe that a lot of people are going through the same things. It's just it just still kind of counts as weird to talk about it, but it's not weird. It shouldn't be weird.
Yeah, so it's something like a therapy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're from Hungary, and can you please tell me how is the rock and metal scene there? So does it differ anyhow from maybe Northern Europe?
Well, definitely. Hungary is not a big country, and it's very centralized in Budapest, which is the main city. But compared to the size of the country, I think that there are, and compared to the possibilities that it offers, it has a lot of different bands, very cool bands, very creative bands, and very motivated bands. But there is a huge difference compared to, let's say, I can compare it very well to, for example, Western Europe, because let's say in Germany, it's very normal that you have different scene clubs. You have a different club for metal music, or for punk music, or for rockabilly music and stuff like that. But you don't really have that here. You just have a very few clubs where they still welcome rock shows. And then you can see maybe in the same club a metal show, and in the same club a punk show, in the same club. So it is not that separated, and because of that also the scenes are not that separated. It's absolutely normal that someone who likes metal music, you might also meet them on the next day on a punk show. So it's not separated, and I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, we talked about eclecticism, yes.
Yeah, and it unites the whole underground scene, and I think that on one way they are all the same. Because on one way they are all about the honesty, and so I do think that there shouldn't be such differences than some gatekeepers might see. On the other side, I also have to reveal that it is not easy to be nowadays a band in Hungary.
Yeah. So is there anything that you want to add about the Hungarian metal and rock scene, or shall
I think I talked enough about this.
Yeah, I remember I used to be very much into folk metal, and I know the band called Pokol Gap. Yes. So am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes, amazing band, and the most valuable thing is that they also sing in Hungarian language. So
yeah, I mean, that's also something very specific, that Hungarian is a very unique language. So let's say when we started as a band, it was actually a problem that we started to do it in English, or at least a problem for us, not for the people, but for us, because it was not that common, many people did not speak English. It's not that it wasn't that usual as it is today. I mean, today it's still like young people, of course, learn English, but it's not as common as, for example, in any Western European country. So people are very kind of limited by the Hungarian language, because Hungarian language has nothing common with any other language. So it's kind of weird that you have to decide at the very beginning, like, do you want to make music in Hungarian? Then it's much easier to get better known in the Hungarian scene, of course. And but it's almost impossible to go outside of Hungary if you speak Hungarian, if you sing Hungarian, or you do it in English, but then it's more tricky to connect with your own audience here in Hungary because they don't speak English. So that's a tricky question. And I think nowadays there are more and more bands who sing in English, that I am actually very happy about it. But it wasn't when we started. It wasn't that normal.
Mhm. Okay, so the next question is, what do you think about artificial intelligence? I know that the abbreviation is AI. I just like to pronounce it out loud.
Yeah.
I really like this like word combination. So what do you think about AI conquering the world nowadays? Art
Well,
world, I would say.
it is so I also have a job. Actually, I'm working as a PPC manager, which is about creating online advertising. And in that job, AI is something that we use for years now, because AI is used by Google for serving out the ads properly. So in my work life, I totally see that it can be something very awesome and it can work really well, and it can be something very good. On the other side, I also know, for example, I just started to use ChatGPT to see what it can do, what it cannot do. And my first thought was that, oh my gosh, if I would go to high school now, I would definitely use that shit all the time for my homework. And I'm sure that I wouldn't be able to write any own text by myself when I would leave high school, because I would be too lazy, because there is such an easy solution right now. So I also see how this can be dangerous and how this can go in a wrong way, So yeah, I don't know. It's things like that are really not about if we like it or not, because they are here. And if it's here and if it makes life somehow easier for some people, then it will be part of our life. So we will see how we can use it, if it's something good or something bad. But I know that it's unstoppable because it's already here. But I have to admit that I am happy that AI only turned such a big thing when I'm already in this age and not a teenager, because I'm sure I wouldn't learn to use the language, any language, properly to write a proper text if I would have this tool. So yeah.
Yes. So it's curious what future generations will look like and act like with this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the recent releases from your colleagues that impressed you the most?
The recent releases from my colleagues?
I mean, musicians, other musicians.
Okay, let me think. Wait. What was? Well, actually, like just today, our drummer has another band. It is called the Southern Oracle. It's a hardcore band here in Hungary, and for the recording also, our bass player joined the recording session. He wrote and recorded all the bass parts, and they just dropped their album today. So it's just a perfect timing that maybe people should check it out. I think it's the best hardcore band right now here in Hungary. And the screamer sings in English, so it's something actually made for international listeners. So they should check it out.
Yeah, so it's great that I asked about
yeah.
the releases. Yes, as if I knew. Okay, so what is the best and the worst advice that was given to you throughout your lifetime?
I think the worst, I don't know if I would say it advice, but the worst thing that hurt me really much was when I was a child, or when I was a very young teenager. I really believed that that you can be whatever you want to be. And this is something that a lot of people believe for a very long time. And actually, it's useful to believe that. But I was a professional gymnast. And when I was 14 years old, I had an injury and I couldn't continue doing professional sport anymore. And I know how extremely devastated I was, not just because I couldn't continue gymnastics, but also because I felt really miserable because the dream went away. I learned my lesson that time to time doesn't matter how hard you fight for a dream. If who knows who decides that is not your way, then it's not going to be your way. It doesn't matter how much you like that. So that was something that I had to learn by my own, that sometimes doesn't matter how much you want to be someone or something, you cannot be that person. And let's see, maybe a good advice. Well, the good advice I think is that I got in the music industry is really to learn that just because you're not getting a response, it doesn't mean that you're out and that you have to stick to that, because as a musician, it was very unexpected for me that actually, especially at the beginning, there are so many emails that no one will answer you, and it will take ages till you will take it serious enough that you get answered. But it's worth it to wait. And often when you think that you are just not heard, actually you are heard, but maybe your time will come later.
Yes, that's a great idea. So can you please share with us some plans for the future of the band and maybe yours personally as an artist?
Well, we're just 2 weeks away from releasing our new album, and on the day of album release, we will also release a new video. And after that, actually, we are going to release another video. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's crazy. And after that, we will have a couple of gigs, of course, this year. But it's a bit chaotic, so I just want to ask people to join our socials and check it out there. But there's definitely like a lot of going on right now around the Hellfreaks. So I just want to invite everyone to join us on the social platforms and get connected with us because there is a lot of going on right now.